Bruno, just give me a sense of, are you worried that the markets are not worried about what's happening in Greece and the fact that we could, it's still a 50-50 chance on whether we get an agreement or not today?
Well, I think we have a good chance to have an agreement because of the developments in the Greek situation last week. Greek people have voted against their government. It's not a formal vote, but when they withdraw cash from their banking account, it's a kind of way of saying we don't trust this government any longer. So maybe Mr. Tsipras remains very popular in opinion polls. But last week, Greek people showed that there was another Greece not willing to have any trust in this government any longer, and so this makes domestic pressure on Mr. Tsipras and his government to reach a deal. And I think that the official creditors and the IMF and the ECB have been very clear that it's the last chance for them to get a fair deal.
Yeah, Bruno, are you concerned, though, that the markets are brushing over this? I mean, if you look at the impact, I know this may be contained. I understand that this is maybe just for Greece. It's a problem of credibility in Europe. It's a problem of how we deal with the next country that wants to negotiate tough and rough as well. Why are these markets on the upswing?
Well, it's an uncertainty. And markets don't like uncertainty. But I want to stress something, in my view, very important. 3 years ago, the last time we considered seriously the possibility of a Brexit, the difference, the gap between Greece and the second weakest link in the Eurozone was very small. Today, the second weakest country in the Eurozone is Portugal. But Portugal is growing. Portugal has implemented reforms, and so the gap between Greece and the second weakest country in Europe is very, very large. So, in a way, we could say, well, maybe markets are too much upset with this question because the risk of contagion it exists. But I think it's very small, especially if we compare with the situation three years ago. And a big change in the meantime is the fact that the ECB is now prepared to halt any contagion, to make sure that the risk of denomination is not there. Basically, the ECB has unlimited firepower to purchase bonds from other countries. So maybe markets underestimate this new feature in the Greek crisis.
Bruno, do we need debt restructuring? And actually, how painful will that be? Greek debt restructuring.
One way or another, I think that we don't know exactly what kind of deal will be signed, but I think it's fair to say that today Greek debt is unsustainable. So I don't think that we will have a write-off, but I think that the official creditors are prepared to say to the Greek government, we may in the future, as they said in the past, we may in the future consider maybe lengthening of the maturity and maybe increasing the grace period for Greece not to pay interest. I think this is a possibility. So I don't know if you want to call it a restructuring, but I think it's part of the deal. And my understanding of the recent statements by the IMF and Europe, it's that it's a possibility to be in this deal.
Bruno, are you confident that we'll get something today or this week, or does it matter so much as long as it's before the 30th?
Oh, sorry, I didn't get the question.
Do you think that we will get a deal today? A deal on Greece?
Oh yes, I think so. Oh yes, I think we will have, because we don't know exactly the amount of cash which is withdrawn from banks, but we had various press reports saying maybe it was 1.7 billion Friday, maybe 1 billion this morning. It's clear that at this pace of cash withdrawal, the banking sector could collapse in the next few days. So this is basically the main pressure on the Greek government to sign the deal. I think the IMF and the European creditors are willing to have this deal. Now it's Greece's move. So with the new pressure on them, as I said, the fact that Greek people are voting against their government, the fact that they are withdrawing cash at a very, very high pace every day in the past few days, the situation is not sustainable any longer. So it's today or a collapse of the banking sector. And probably with the collapse of the banking sector, the fact the government will be forced to impose capital controls, and probably the government will not survive this kind of measures.